You're watching live coverage from the CBT news stage at the 2024 NADA show in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Hey everyone, Jim Fitzpatrick at the 2024 NADA convention, and I am joined by Ted Rubin, the founder and CEO of Active Engage, a company that is really making great things happen for dealers. So Ted, thank you so much for stopping by the stage.
Yeah, I really appreciate you having me here. Actually.
Sure.
It's great to be here. It's great to have another year where we're finally back at.
I know. And it's a little different being live right now and versus being in the studio, which is where we usually, catch you.
I'm very nervous, if you can't tell.
Don't be nervous. Everything we're talking about, you know so well, and there's so much to talk about actually with Active Engage. Talk to us about some of the features that are new.
Well, I mean, let me tell you what's going on a little bit at NADA. So we just had Carol speak the other day about the digital natives. And so her session was really well attended, and it was a really great session. And I think we've talked about it a little bit before where, really engaging this new large group of people, these digital natives, these people who grew up not buying a car the way that I grew up buying a car.
Exactly, or me.
But the way that you're online and you're working through things and you want to be able to do a lot of it on your own, and the research is extensive. So, there's a lot to interacting with that, and so she spoke about that fairly extensively and how we help with that.
Right.
Eric is speaking later today, our CRO, and he's speaking about the flip to text piece. And I think that's going to be a super powerful piece for
So for the dealers, because we talked a little bit about that when you're in the studio last time, tell them a little bit about what that's all about.
The flip to text piece, I think, is this spectacular piece to alleviate all of the stress on your receptionist and on the phone lines that you have at the store, because even you can have 2-3 receptionists, and I know when we first started testing this out, the goal was to try to be able to handle the volume of calls coming into a dealership. If you're between 7:30 and 9:30 in the morning, it doesn't matter how many SIP lines, how many 25 line sets you have. You're just going to hit the ceiling at some point because there's just so many people trying to make appointments, find out if they can bring their car in and stuff. So this is going to allow you to offer your customers an option during the phone call to say, hey, we're very busy at this moment, but we can answer your questions live with a live person. And we can do it through text. So if you want to flip this phone call instead of waiting for an operator to ultimately transfer you, you can talk to your live person.
I do it all the time. Delta Airlines, whoever it might be, I'm like, no problem. And sure enough, they take care of all my problems.
And that's it. It's about having really well-trained people that have access to the systems in the dealership to know how to make appointments, how to talk through sales, how to talk about vehicle information and other things like that, and get the customer, not just so that they can produce a lead, but get them to where they can get certain things accomplished. As in the same way that they would if they were calling in, So I think that's going to be a huge piece, and we were in pilot for a long time, and it had great success, and it really alleviates a huge amount of stress on the dealership. You get a lot more in, everything goes into the CRM, and as well, it can save you money. It can't just actually get you more money, which it absolutely will, because now you're answering everything. But it saves you money because you don't have to have as many people trying to answer the phone.
That's right.
And everything now every call that comes in essentially becomes a lead that gets connected to that customer record.
A beautiful thing.
So now you know exactly what's going on with that customer, how many times they've called in.
That's right.
What the conversation was, not just, hey, here's a number they called. But this is what they called about. I know they called in at 7:30 in the morning, but it was because they wanted to know about sales.
That's right.
Or I know that they called in at 6 o'clock on a Saturday, and it wasn't about sales. They were trying to make an appointment for Monday. That kind of stuff.
And as you know, dealers for the last century have been challenged in this area. They spend a gazillion dollars trying to get that phone to ring or the computer to click or what have you. And lo and behold, most dealers, and you know who I'm talking about here, or what I'm talking about with regard to listening in on those calls coming in, that are never,
and all the training that goes into it.
It's unbelievable. And so many times you'll say, this call wasn't picked back up again by anybody, and you might, to your point, you might see the number, you might say, yeah, that call came in, but what happened to it? And this takes away all of that guesswork.
You don't even know if it's a service or a sales call at this point. So even if you were going to follow up, you don't know what you're following up for.
That's right.
And so this actually solves a large quantity of the problems in that particular area.
Yeah.
So, I think that both of those things are really big. And then, of course, we released our new app, which is for the dealers, which is huge. I think, we took, I think, frankly, that we had been a little behind on that app area because we really released as a full service, managed services in the beginning. So our focus wasn't really there, but we have so many dealers now because we're transferring into the stores for F&I, for other things, or there's just some dealers who want to do it themselves, that we took the last 3 years and really massively changed the app.
Oh, wow.
So it's much more interactive. You can do everything that you would need to in the app that basically you could do from the console. You can even ultimately get to video conferencing and other things if you needed to.
Fantastic.
It's a huge upgrade to what we've had before.
Switching gears a little bit, let's talk about NADA. I walked around, the show, and Active Engage is with Cox now. It's General Motors, several digital retailing tools, new integration with Orbi. Talk to us about that. You guys are doing just phenomenal work.
Yeah, I'm really proud of all the partnerships that we've created. And I think it's because of the quality of the conversations and the data that we collect and the motivation that we give to the customers. So we integrate with virtually every DR system.
Okay.
Many of them, more than a dozen of them.
Sure.
And all the the biggest ones that are out there, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And so we can carry people, all the way from a conversation on the website, through whether it's Darwin or Accelerate, which is Cox's tool, or Roadster, or any of those. We can get them all the way through that process through and help them in the DR. So as it gets more dense, more important, that the customer has even more support. Now it's not just research.
Right.
Now it's actually a little bit of selling and a little bit of this is what this means. Don't be afraid of it. It's okay to keep going. So, we help with a lot of that kind of stuff. And because of all these different companies that we're integrated with, the marketplaces, like AutoTrader and KBB and other things like that. We bring all that together so we can be on your website and we're bringing in the data from the website. We can be through your DR tool and we're bringing all that data in through conversational commerce, right? So we're actually identifying specifically what the likes and dislikes are for the customer, not just here's a set of data. And we're doing it also from these marketplace sites as well. So you can actually start at a marketplace site, and then if the customer hits your dealership, we know it's the same customer, we know what we talked about the last time, we can migrate the entire thing all the way through DR. It's a very, very big deal. And I think that the aggregate value of all of that data, not just for the conversation, but for the next person at the dealership to take over that conversation.
That's right. So important.
Is a very big deal because they know what the intention and motivation for the customer is. Plus, to work with a lot of these big companies, the companies like CDK, eLeads, we have a special integration with, a very unique integration through Fortillis, and certainly all of the Cox products and things. Great. General Motors, we do things with Southeast Toyota. So all these big companies, our security is the best there is.
I know. And we talked about that when you were
just for us to meet up.
Before I let you get out of here, talk to us about the booth. It's in 6113 in the North Hall,
That's right?
Okay. You always got something going on over there. It was like this buzz of dealers going, we want to know more.
I'm glad you see that. It's we have a nice big booth. It's really great.
Cool.
I really like how it looks and stuff like that. We're anxiously waiting. So if you see the drool that from the guys who are standing at the front line, it's okay. We definitely want to be able to service all of our customers, which are the dealers, the OEMs.
So if you're out here at the show, and we hope that you are out here, if you're in the retail automotive industry, you should be out here. This is where all the solutions are. Check them out. Active Engage at booth 6113 in the North Hall. Thank you so much, Ted, for stopping by, taking the time out of your schedule. I know you're very, very busy,
Thanks so much.
And we really appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me.
Check these guys out. Absolutely. Thanks.
Thanks for watching the live coverage from the CBT News Stage at the 2024 NADA Show.